Hey, good afternoon, Don Meyer. We are here at the Fiktus residence. We're here today to conduct a repairability assessment on this shingle. NTS said it was a CertainTeed XT25. These are the tools that we're going to be using today to simulate or to conduct the repair. The shingles to my left here are the shingles that we're going to be using to do the repair. Up here we have the control area. This is an area that has no damage to it. It's not going to be manipulated, and we will come back to the control area at the end and we'll do a granule loss test on that control area after we do it on the area that is damaged. The ambient temperature outside is 49 degrees. I have my thermal gun here to get a reading on the surface of the roof, which is 57 degrees. So we're well within the degrees of manufacturer specifications to conduct a repair, which the minimum is 40 degrees. So we're above that. Next thing we're going to do is identify the shingles that need to be manipulated. To gain access to the fasteners to remove the damaged shingle. The damaged shingle here is pretty obvious. It's missing a tab. It does end right here, so that's the far left tab of the damaged shingle. So we're going to mark this one with an X to highlight the damaged shingle that's going to be removed. To gain access to these nails, we are going to have to debond the shingle below it and two shingles above it, and that is what I'm going to identify right now. This shingle ends here, shingle below it goes to here, shingles above it, shingle ends here, and that shingle ends here. The reason we got to go up 2 courses above it is because of the headlap of the damaged shingle is nailed into the second course above. Goes there to there. And then obviously, since we're breaking the shingles on these, the ones below that are also in this. Same with the ones here beside the damaged shingle. And we'll do these at a minimum. If we have to manipulate any more, we'll point those out as we go. So we're going to number those. This one's obviously affected here because this tab, I forgot that one already. 1, 2, 3 tabs. Alright, so we'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, damaged shingle, 6, then back up, 7, 8. This one, if we get into 8, we may, since 5 is touching this one would actually be counted as shingle 9, but I don't think we'll have to get into that. This becomes a huge issue. If 9 ends up being damaged, now we're going underneath the hip. Now you got to remove ridge and hip cap, but that's another ball of wax. But we're going to start with where we're at and see if we can get these shingles debonded. I'm going to start off by using a simple putty knife, 2-inch putty knife. I've heard multiple people saying that a pry bar is too harsh and we should try to use something similar. to a putty knife. So I'm going to attempt to debond with a putty knife. I will add that I believe this doesn't have enough weight to it, so there's a lot more manual force, and that could cause damages as well. If I start to cause damage with the putty knife, I will switch to a pry bar, which is also, the pry bar is recommended by the manufacturers to use as a tool when doing repairs. You'll see the pry bar is on an angle, so when I start to run this edge parallel with the surface of the roof, the back end will be up, so I'm not gouging into the roof. I will be going like this into parallel to the surface. So let's just first start by debonding these two areas. So the first thing I'll point out, this was already there, but I did start to cause a little bit of damage there. Go on to the next one. I was causing some granule loss there. You can see right here, getting granule loss at the bond. So this is a lot more manual pressure. And it did start to break through right there. It was worn already, but it did break the rest of the way. So there's the release. We did have a little bit of granule loss. It broke through here where it was already thin. Peek underneath. We did have some significant mat transfer. Now this shingle's damaged already, so we know this is going to be a red shingle that's being replaced. But since this is on shingle 6, now shingle 6 will also need to be replaced, so we're going to strike that one as needing replaced because of the mat transfer on shingle 6. Again here, significant mat transfer on shingle 6. Alright, I'm going to switch to the pry bar now. Moving on to shingle 5. Seriously real tough there. Yeah, definitely coming easier with this one. A lot of resistance here. Definitely easier with the 5-bar. I can hear the mat tearing right there. Again on shingle 5. Got another failure point. Let's switch directions. Still just wanting to tear through there. Try from this end. Or again. There's no way I'm getting the shingle up, annihilating it. Tab 2. Again, switch into this just to prove my point. Break the tip off. I was already loose on that. Alright, shingle 5. We ripped completely through the shingle. We didn't even get it debonded. And that's ripping through shingle X. More material transfer. Now this is the one where we use the pry bar. One I used the knife, broke the corner. So again, material transfer underneath. The shingle's still not even separated all the way. So this makes shingle number 5 also needing replaced. To delaminate shingle number 3 here at the end, at least this tab to gain access to the nails for the repair shingle. It's kind of hard too because it's right on where the shingle was missing. A little bit of mat transfer, not horrible though. Alright, so that's just to gain access to the nails. The first row of nails. We also got to break loose shingle number 4 to gain access to the nails that are in the headlap of the damaged shingle. Oh, these ones aren't too bad. I am getting some granule loss right here at the bond where it's bonding, where I'm debonding it, and a small tear. Another tear where it punctured through. These shingles are in really bad shape. So already shingle 4 has been damaged. So even the putty knife's breaking through at the bond area. You see that? Right there. Tip almost broke all the way through. See, this is where I'm using the manual pressure. The shingle's already failed, so just wanted to use both to show that it doesn't matter what you use on this very particular, showing failure points. The last tab of shingle 5 already broke through right here. This bond is really bad. Shingle 5 damage. Now, since shingle 4 and 5 are damaged, they need to be replaced. So you have to debond shingle 9 to gain access to shingle 5 that now needs replaced. Very applying any pressure, flat with the surface, and it's just breaking through. I can honestly stop at this point and tell you that this roof is unrepairable. Every shingle that we've touched has caused additional damages to the surrounding shingles. I also want to add that the methods that we're using is outlined by the National Academy of Forensic Engineering. So it's not just me that says, hey, this is what constitutes a failure point. This was a paper written by the National Academy of Forensic Engineering that said, hey, these are the failure points that you need to be looking for: chips, tears, excessive granular loss. And those are all the types of things that we're seeing here. I think I'm going to continue this repair just to get the new shingle in, but I can confidently already say that this shingle or this roof is not going to be in a repairable state. But I will continue the repair because it's 9 is now damaged. So now we're going to gain access to the nails, and that's another reason a pry bar is used. You can't use a putty knife to get fasteners out when doing a repair. That one's all the way pulled through. See, even here, the shingle's pulling through, wanting to. I got it. So that's all the nails out of the shingle. Now we got to get to the head lap. I believe the next nail is probably under some of this mat transfer. That may be enough to set the shingle free. Oh, we got one more. Let's be underneath that mat transfer. The shingle shows that it is a certainteed shingle that was identified by NTS. So while I got this shingle out, I just want to point the mat transfer. This was from the original tab that was missing. This is what was caused by the additional damages. Again, you can see all these tears in these shingles. You can see the mat transfers and tears on the damaged shingle. We're going to go ahead and insert the repair shingle. Repair shingles in place. going to show with a hammer first the amount the shingle needs to be manipulated to gain access to the nailing strip. So the nailing strip is there. The nail has to be nailed in flush and perpendicular with the roof surface, and you need enough room for striking distance. So the shingle has to come up to an acceptable level to be able to strike the nail. So that's not very far. That's approximately 45-50 degrees off the surface to gain access, but you got to be careful not to hit. And I'm going to put this gun in here to show you it's basically the same exact distance if you're using a pneumatic gun. And then shingles 3 and 5 need nailed back down. I gotta finish breaking the seal on shingle 9. As you can see, we got a huge mess here. 1, 2, and 3 didn't really exhibit any damage because we didn't have to go that far. 4, 5, 6, and 9 did show damage. 7 is okay because there's no mat transfer here. But 9 did get some mat transfer under it and broke through. There is some mat transfer there. And it broke through the shingle. So 9 would also require to be replaced. So we have non-damaged shingles. 1, 2, 3, 7, and 8. Damaged shingles. 4, 5, 6, and 9. So if I was attempting just to repair one shingle over this entire roof slope, if we try to do another shingle, we can expect to at least damage 4 additional shingles, making 5 shingles needing to be replaced. To do this repair properly, we should be replacing all these shingles, but this concludes the end of my portion of the repair attempt. But all these shingles that we touched, you can see the granules, the breaks are coming pretty significantly. The ones we had to manipulate to get the nail gun in, and I just have a soft glove here. You can see and hear the granules coming off pretty bad. This is a very, just from being manipulated. If we go over to the control, that shingle has not been touched, it's not damaged. And if I rub the same soft cotton over top, you're not even hearing one granule fall off. So this goes to show that prior to the repair, those granules were adhered properly, and the little manipulation that we had to do on the repair area caused significant granule loss, which in itself would require those shingles to be replaced, because now there's a big change in condition. With granule loss, the change in condition is just not cosmetic. Granules are there to protect the roof mat from UV rays. So granules do have a function other than just to look pretty. So that concludes my repair attempt. I think that's all I have. Thank you for your time.